Hello, and welcome to Tuesday Talks with Mom. I'm Tera Myers, and I am so glad you're here. As part of Moms on a Mission, we're empowering moms across the country to stand up and advocate for their children's educational freedom. As a mom of an adult son with Down syndrome, I've walked this road, navigating the school system and fighting for the right to choose the best education for my child. And now I'm here to share that journey with you. Every 2 weeks, we'll sit down with different moms from around the country and provide thoughtful advice and share our experiences. Together, we're building a community of moms who are finding their voices, taking action, and making a difference. Welcome to Tuesday Talks with Mom. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. We have a great conversation for you, and I just can't wait to get started. So, I would like to introduce you to Teshia McIver, who has joined us from South Carolina, and she is currently serving at the Palmetto Promise Institute, helping South Carolina's families navigate educational opportunities through the state's new, oh, this is a good one, Education Scholarship Trust Fund program. So, Teshia, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you. I'm so happy to be here, Tara. Thank you for having me this evening. I look forward to just answering any questions you may have and just having a very comfortable conversation about how we can help South Carolinians exercise their school choice rights.
I love it. Thank you. Well, Teshia, before we get started on South Carolina, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself? And I know you've also already, had several options for your son in education, homeschooling and public school. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a mom of a 13-year-old, but we have toggled between public school and school choice as well. Utilized the option during the pandemic because I wanted to ensure that during that time he didn't fall behind in his studies and we were able to keep up. So we transitioned to a school choice online, one of the K-12 programs here that was offered in South Carolina. And it was awesome. So we did the second half of third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade at home. And then we transitioned back into public school at sixth grade. More so just the option to have, for him to not fall behind or for him to feel safe at home during that time when everybody was kind of all over the place was reassuring as a mom. I've said it often and I'll say it again. I wish I had a Palmetto institution or a school choice where I had that support that I'm providing to the families to answer questions and stuff during that time. We were kind of freelancing it because if you think about it during the pandemic, a lot of people were not, homeschooling or choosing an online option. So I was kind of on an island by myself, those first few months. But just to have that choice is why I'm so passionate about parents having options. I feel like at any given moment, life changes. And I think that was something we all learned. And I think at even any given moment, as a parent, we should have a choice to pivot and make a different decision. Um, just as far as with me, I've always been an open-minded person with my child and his education and just how I embrace others to step out there and do what's best for their kids.
I love it. I love it. I used an online charter school as well, and I'm so thankful that those options are available, especially for circumstances like yourself. And when all of that went down, and parents were left all across the nation, not just in South Carolina, but all across the nation, scrambling of what are we going to do. And I think that creates an incredible option and an opportunity. And I agree with you. Parents need to be able to have choices, because pivoting happens whether we like it or not. We sometimes are called to that place and have to make a different decision. So I applaud you for that and for being willing to step up to that as well. So tell me a little bit about what the ESA actually is in South Carolina. What is an ESA?
So an ESA is what most other states have. They have the ESA, which is the Education Scholarship Account. Okay. For South Carolina, ours is a little bit different than the other, but it still falls within the ESA. So ours is the Education Scholarship Trust Fund. Okay. So that's what South Carolina, we had to be different. So when referencing to ours, it is the ESTF is what we use. You'll see that a lot, that acronym being used, but it's broken down into the Education Scholarship Trust Fund, which, like I said, in the other states is ESA. So when you see ESA, it's just, like I said, South Carolina, we just had to add a little bit of, So, but the scholarship gives, like we just were talking, parents more flexibility in the best way for their children to learn. Like, instead of it just being, you got to do this in a traditional setting, it gives that opportunity again in the flexibility for the parent. It can be used for education, private school tuition, instructional materials. If your child has disabilities, and they need therapy, and to me, that was one of the things that really, I like to drive home, because you may have a therapist that you prefer that for your child to continue to utilize, someone you're comfortable with if your child is receiving speech therapy or anything. And as long as they are an approved provider, you're able to continue your services with the person you and your child are comfortable with, or you and your family. Okay. So I think that's very important. Right now, the ESTF is paying $7,500 for scholarship. And it's going to increase in 26-27 school year. So, and not only will the dollar amount increase by a couple of $100 for the 26-27 school year, but the number of actual scholarship participants we're able to bring into the program will increase as well year over year. So that's why it's so important for us to get the information out there. So right now we're at 10,000. And then so for that was for 25-26 school year. And by the way, we have a waiting list. So, parents are like, yes, we're here for this. We want options. So we currently, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you tell me a little bit about the ease of use, with that, if there is 10,000 spots open, mm-hmm. and as a parent, and I'm on a waiting list now. So tell me what I can do to be ready so that when more slots open up.
Absolutely.
What is the ease of use?
Absolutely. So the first thing is to know the dates, which is part of what I have to ensure that I'm implementing or making sure that people are ready. So November 1st, that will be for renewals for current students, okay. and for their siblings. So November 1st, current students and siblings get first priority. And then January 15th is when applications will open up for our priority groups, which includes military families. Okay. And then February 16th, applications will be open for all of our up to the 500 below the poverty line parents and children at that time. So that's how it works. But the key thing is making sure that you understand how to use it. So it's not for college. So you cannot use
K-12,
it for
K-12
college. College has its own funding, okay? This is for K-12 only, okay?
Okay,
Um,
right?
and so how it works is the ESTF you may not attend a public school in your zoned area.
Okay.
So if you are zoned for that school, public school, you cannot receive the trust fund for that zone school. It has to be a situation where you're going
Switching.
outside of your zone school. So you can go to a public school. It just has to be outside of your zone school. Okay.
That was going to be one of
Um,
my questions. Yeah, if you can attend. So that's really helpful because
mhm.
in our situation, if I could have switched to another public district, 1 mile away, there was a public district that would have met our needs, and they said, no, you can't. So that's really good. That's a good move on South Carolina's part.
Absolutely. And so the homeschool under options 1, 2, and 3 are not accepted into, and you can refer to the scschoolchoice.com to
Okay.
get more information about the homeschool options 1, 2, and 3 that do not qualify and to receive the scholarship trust fund as well. The next thing is, but you can attend, like we said, a public school outside the resident zone, a charter school,
Okay.
an online hybrid schools,
Okay.
nonprofit schools, and personalized education, plan at home learning with the Education Scholarship Trust Fund. You can do those options. The biggest thing that we want to make sure leading up to the open enrollment dates and the re-registration dates is to ensure you have your proper documentation, proof
Yeah.
of residency, okay? South Carolina driver's license, state issued government IDs. So you want to make sure you have your utility bills. If you get SNAP or TANF, voter registration, tax assessments, mortgage statement. Those are the things we're looking for because that'll slow down your application process if you don't turn in all of your information up front. So that can delay your approval, and you, as I just said, we have a waiting list, so it's going to go fast.
Right.
So you want to make sure that when those dates open up, you're ready to rock and roll.
Right. Yes. And that's one of the tricky things is that delay. If you
Mhm.
if you wait until the very last minute, you could really lose your spot. So I think it's a real good parent tip too to start a folder, have a location, even scan those into the computer if you have accessibility for that. If you don't have that accessibility at home, maybe go to your local library and have one of the librarians help you scan it in and have a portal there. Make some copies just to be on the ready so that you can have your documents um, easily accessible digitally, and then also in a folder that you can actually take and have uploaded when you need them.
Yep,
So,
put your hands on it as quick as possible. If you, when in doubt, ask questions.
yeah,
That's why I'm here, to make sure that this is a as smooth of a transition for your kids and you as a family as possible. So, that is my number one goal, is to make sure that the transition, any questions, if you're not sure about a document, like you said, the local public libraries are the best if you don't have good internet. I know South Carolina, we have a lot of rural areas. So if your internet is not the best, and you know that up front, and
right.
the application window opens up, just head on over to the library so that you can make sure that you get your everything turned in as well. So that may even be a good idea if you know you have internet issues, or if you don't have internet at all.
Right.
There's always that option.
Yeah, and you said it already, but I'm going to repeat it because sometimes we feel apprehensive to ask the questions.
Yes.
But here's the thing. This is something new, and if you've never done it before, you're not an expert. We don't expect you to be an expert, and none of us were experts to begin with either. So just feel free to ask the questions. Go to the website, gather your questions, and then you're available. Your information is ticking across the bottom of the screen, and anybody who's watching, feel free to jot that information down and contact Teshia with the questions that you have, that is her whole purpose of being in her position, is to be there to help you. So
Absolutely. And know that, I wanted to hit these key points as well, that we are going to increase the number of people, participants year over year. So don't get discouraged if you have to get on the waiting list, because we are pulling people off a waiting list now. And if your information is already in there, we can put you in a position, say, if someone doesn't turn in their paperwork on time or doesn't follow the rules, those things can disqualify people. So don't get discouraged if you have to get on the waiting list. I want to stress that as well. But like I said, year over year, we're going to increase the number of people that can enroll. So for 27 school year, it will increase to 15,000. So from 10,000 to 15,000. And then as we continue to show the numbers, we can go back to legislation and say, hey, it's working. We need more, So, and we know people love to see data and numbers. So,
right.
we want to make sure when we go back, we can say, hey, we have a wait list. This is not enough. We need more.
Well, and I've told parents before, and I think I spoke on a panel for South Carolina, and I said, collect your data. If you're a participant, collect your data, because and let them know what's working and what's not working. And then also tell your friends, because they may be in the same situation that you're in. Hey, I need a different option for my children. And because fill out any forms that the scholarship granting organization puts out there for you, because that data will help, just like you said. It'll help eliminate waiting lists. It'll help grow the program. And everything is better when you bring along a friend,
Yes. And it's fun. And then you get to explore this option. And like I said, you can use the money for your activity. So your kids get to still fellowship in the same manner as if they were in an in-person school when you're at home as well. So I do want to make sure that you understand, for me, I only control the South Carolina. So in order to qualify, you must be a South Carolina resident.
Yep.
And again, no college scholarships. Colleges have their own jam. Okay. Look, this is our jam.
I love it. I love it.
Want to make sure we make that clear, because colleges, people, money, I can go put this. No, this is for your child and K-12. Okay.
Love it.
So, yeah. So, and we are really looking forward to having more military families because they are in our priority family group. I've done some digging with that, and it's much needed in that area for military families to have that option, because most of the time you transfer and you feel like, I just have to go to that school. And so we want to make sure that military families know we're here for them, and there are other options for them as well.
That is wonderful. And I love the fact that South Carolina took that into consideration to create options for our military families. So kudos to South Carolina for that.
Look, as a former Army brat, like, I get it, sometimes it would have been better to have some other options. I can speak on that as a Army brat. So I know what that's like. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think it would make, when you do have options, as you found for your son and I found for my three children, it takes a lot of maybe some educational stress, or, moving around, any type of stress that you're experiencing in those growing up years. When you have the options to find the right educational setting, the entire family benefits. Wouldn't you agree? Yes, it really does. Really does.
Absolutely.
So, Teshia, do you have anything else that you would like to add? Because I have one more question for you before we take any questions from.
No, go. Listen, I'm an open book. I think we're covering it all, and I'm having fun, and I hope everybody's learning and at the same time. So no, I don't have anything else I want to add, but if you have another question, great.
No, it's a simple thing. Just if you were able to give just one plea to the viewers out there, to parents, what's one thing about using an ESA? What would it be? Whether it be encouragement, whether it be, hey, grab a friend. If you had the opportunity to just talk to other parents that are in your state, what would you share with them?
Follow your intuition and your instincts. You know your child or your children better than anyone else. And so it may seem like you're taking a huge leap, and you may leap by yourself, but I agree with Tara. Bring someone along with you. It's always funner with a friend. But if you have to do what you need to do for your children, please know that we're here to support you. This is a great opportunity to have some additional financial support. Tara and I are both sitting here saying we didn't have it, and we didn't know about the resources. So I think that it is just a beautiful thing for us as parents to have the option to parent our children how we see fit or we need to for our households and our families. So that would be my plea. If this is something you're interested in, please feel free to reach out for South Carolina. If I don't have the answers, I will get them. We work very closely with the Department of Education with South Carolina. So there's always resources out here to answer your questions. But just know that we're here because we care. We're passionate about what we do, and we want to protect the parents' rights to be able to have a choice.
I love it. I love it. And I love that in South Carolina, you all work very closely with the Department of Education
Yes,
and that they're in support of the opportunities that are being provided. And I think that's so important because parents need to feel a level of trust and camaraderie and collaboration with their Department of Educations. And so I think that South Carolina is on a great path to helping families find the resources that they need to make sure that we are bringing up our future leaders for our nation. I love it. I love it.
absolutely. But and less stress on the parents while we're raising these future leaders.
That's right. That's right. It's hard enough as it is, but let alone, to not have educational resources. So I love it that we're getting to a place where states are actually taking a real look at creating literate individuals and making sure that they can read and write and do all the things that they need to do from an academic perspective, but to have their needs met. And you've mentioned military families, you've mentioned children with disabilities, individuals that maybe just need a therapy or something, different resources that parents can use those dollars for. So I just think I think this is great. We have one question that's popping up there, so we'll let that. Here it is. How many parents typically reach out for assistance in enrolling in a school choice option in South Carolina?
So, like I said, this year we're in September.
Hmm.
So the number this year was we had 10,000 that could apply. And again, like I said earlier, we have a waiting list. And so we have grown in parents with the mindset to choose for their kids. And so we have legitimate questions. So you have the parents asking questions, you have the schools, but for the most part, once someone gets into the program,
Okay.
they have their own portal and everything that they use. So a lot of the once you have your funding and you're approved, you use a class wallet and a portal and you spend your money. You don't spend any of your money up front. So you use everything through the portal. So that takes care of a lot of the questions that parents have, because if you think about it, we receive everything from the parents up front. So this is why I was pushing so hard about having your right documentation and paperwork, because there's no going back. You will probably end up on the waiting list if you don't ask your questions up front. So that's why I'm, out in the community and stuff, pushing it hot and heavy. Please ask any questions you have up front. The only question that's not a good question is the one you don't ask. Okay.
Right. Right.
And
Absolutely.
always know someone else may be thinking of that question that you're asking. So that was an excellent segue into understanding how that waiting list is created. So I will keep driving home. We have the waiting list. Please make sure you don't, so you getting your number, you have everything up front.
I love it. I love it. And that is very good advice, because when you don't, you get pushed onto a list and then you have to wait. And that can be challenging for some that maybe this was your last ditch hope for the year. So be ready, be diligent in making sure that you have what you need. And, you know, take advantage of what resources are offered. I had one last question that kind of stuck in my head. Teshia, is do parents do just left my brain there. Do parents when they sign up, do they have the opportunity to come to like parent information sessions or like do you guys have any community events or is that something to just kind of keep an eye out with and maybe you guys have a calendar? Is any of that an option for parents?
Yes. So right now that's again why I was brought on as the implementation coordinator is to
Okay.
make sure that we're in the community. We work very closely with our existing partners also. So partnership is very important for us because it's like it's the excellent form of
Right.
referral, just like a parent.
Right.
So we utilize and have events with our partners. We will have a school choice event like a fair in January coming up as well.
Okay.
So always just keep an eye on our social medias. We're always posting what we have. But the goal is to get into those areas where you have the lower performing schools to make sure
Okay.
that those parents have options
Okay.
and know that there's other options out there for their kids.
Okay.
And I think that would be the major target area. But yes, we do have events coming up. We have webinars that we do where we invite parents on and continue the education process. And as we get closer to the dates, you'll see an increase in the webinars and ensuring that everyone has what they need.
I love it. Okay, so couple takeaways. We have one more question. Couple takeaways before we answer that question, though, is make sure you gather your documents. Make sure you check the dates, the application dates and the priority dates for signing up and attend any webinars. So keep checking into that southcarolinaschoolchoice.com and make sure that you get the information that you need on a timely fashion. Maybe you recommend every couple days or once a week. Check that so that you can stay up to date on what's happening.
I would say at least once a week
Okay.
because we're constantly looking at ways to add events. So and especially as we get
Okay.
closer to the dates, because we want people to be able to submit and get approved and not have to be held up with, hey, we need this documentation, or because of that documentation, like I keep saying, you're now added to the wait list. So we just want people happy. We want
Love
happy
it.
parents who are using the process. Yeah.
Well, I see that Don Williamson, thank you, Don, for attending and for asking a question from us. Will they continue to add more to the amount of people that are accepted? And I think that you said that coming up next year is you're going to go from 10,000 to
15,000.
15.
Mhm.
Yes. So Don, the waiting list, hopefully that will encompass all the people on the waiting list. I don't know what that waiting list looks like, but do you think that
Well,
adding that
I'll say this
additional
to
time?
Dawn too. This is why I was driving home earlier to the legislation. So we're able to take this data back and say, hey, the 15,000 people are great. We appreciate that, but we need more. So the
Yes.
so again,
Right.
we yeah. So we want, we don't want the waiting list, but that's what we have right now. But we're able to use this data and say we need more slots. We
That's
need more
awesome.
opportunities.
Yep.
The parents are ready and willing and able to make this choice. Let's make sure they have the availability for their choice.
I love it. Well, everyone, thank you so much for attending. Teshia, thank you for your willingness to come on and share all things South Carolina. Parents are going to be so appreciative of the information that you shared. And parents, make sure that you write down the contact information for Teshia, and she is ready and available to help you with your questions. Feel free to reach out to the Moms on a Mission platform. We are willing to send you in the right direction, but we're here as moms to help you get the resources that you need to make sure that your child has the greatest education possible. Have a great night, and thank you for tuning
Thank
in, Mom.
you. Thank you.